Hey guys, BBM here. So last week we were trying to catch up with the update around the globe. I stumbled on the news as regard the dollarization of the US dollars. Basically, countries around the world dumping the US dollars as their reserves for alternatives. For instance, Nigeria, we have our reserves being kept in the US dollars. So countries of the world are actually dumping the US dollars for other either currencies or commodity. And stumbled on a very interesting data by IMF, which shows that as at 2016, about 65% of reserves of countries around the world are being held in US dollars as at 2016, and currently it sits around 55%. Also, if you go back to, let's say, 2 decades ago, as like around year 2000, about 70% of world reserves are being held in the US dollars, and as we speak currently it's now around 55%, and which is quite concerning. And you may be thinking, okay, what other currency are the countries of the world going for? You may want to think, oh, is it euro, is it Chinese yen and all? No, absolutely none. From findings, it was observed that countries of the world are actually putting their reserves in other currencies. Let's just call it baskets of currencies, and not the popular guy, because the euro has been relatively stable, sitting around 20% for the past 10-15 years now. So we can't say that's where other guys are going to. So the US dollar has been the currency of the world over a long period of time. As some people call it, monetary hegemony. It actually posed a lot of advantages to the US. For instance, the lower borrowing cost for the US government, exorbitant privilege, and increased in financial influence. Easily they can control the market because they print the US dollars. However, what is the reason why countries are actually losing faith in the US dollars? Fiscal responsibilities. You see a lot of increase in government spendings, printing of money as well. I think based on the latest reports, the US printed about 7% of the GDP, and the global standard is 3% of the GDP. Also, US debt crisis. I think US debt sits around 36 trillion dollars, if I'm correct. And also, the introduction of the ongoing tariffs. So it's one of the things that is causing uproar in the markets, and a lot of countries, a lot of companies, a lot of investors reacting to this either positively or negatively. So let's talk about how can countries of the world, how can they actually protect themselves? Countries that actually have their reserves being held in dollars, how can they protect themselves? Perhaps they can look for alternative currency, or they look for precious metals, like gold, silver, and all. And as I usually say, it's important as a country to diversify, to have a diversified portfolio of reserves. And I think I always say this year in year out, that the CBN having Nigeria reserves in the US dollars is actually very, very risky. Our reserves should be in a diversified portfolio, just in case there's a shock or there's a risk from the US. We can hedge it with another currency or with another asset class. Over the week, Donald Trump suspended the tariff by 90 days. And looking at a lot of activities that has happened in the financial space over the past few weeks, I think it has to be done, because look at it, the bond market finishes on one of the worst weeks in decades, and this is not really looking good for the US markets, because when bonds loses value, when bond prices goes down, what does it imply? It means there will be increase in yield, and basically increase in interest rates. And when there is high interest rates, you know what that means for business: high cost of capital and stuff like that. So it's been an interesting week, or interesting year so far. But let me have your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you. See you later.